This rookie officer was treated like trash by his own seniors. He was forced to clean the toilets and bathrooms of the precinct, scrubbing floors while other officers laughed. They would make him polish their shoes, treating him more like a servant than a fellow cop. But when this rookie cop's real identity was revealed, even the most powerful men in the government would bow their heads to him. One night, the New York City precinct was buzzing with chaotic energy. Officer Jack Hart had just arrived for his shift when another officer approached him. "Officer Jack, tonight's the night. We're going to arrest the most ruthless mafia in the city, Evan Monroe. You're coming with us, right?" Before Jack could answer, another senior officer, Jasper Kane, scoffed. "A rookie's job is to chase cats out of rich people's gardens," he mocked. "If this coward even sees Evan, he'll piss in his pants." Senior Officer Jasper had no idea that before becoming a rookie, Jack was a renowned soldier. But a disastrous incident on one mission had forced him out of the Army and into a police uniform, where he was assigned to write parking tickets. Jasper humiliated Jack every single day, but that night, something was going to happen that no one could have ever dreamed of. "Hey, rookie." Jasper tried to insult Jack just before they left for the mission. "Maybe you could come with us. There's going to be a shootout with Evan today. We are expecting a lot of casualties. We'll need someone to pick up the corpses." Jack didn't say a word and followed his orders. Officer Jasper left for Evan's warehouse with the entire police force, but the news of the police raid had reached Evan long before they arrived. Their men were ready and waiting to give Officer Jasper's team a warm welcome. Clueless, Jasper stormed the warehouse with his force and shouted, "We have you surrounded. Nobody moves. If anyone acts smart, we are not responsible for what happens next." Hearing Jasper's threat, Evan and his men, who were sitting comfortably in chairs, began to laugh. Evan finally spoke, his voice echoing in the vast space. "Before you worry about our deaths, you should think about your own. If you take one more step, you'll all be going home in pieces. You're standing on a pressure-sensitive bomb. You move, you all get blown away." Fear instantly paralyzed Jasper and his entire team. They looked at each other, then at the laughing crime lords, who were eagerly waiting for them to make a fatal mistake. Just then, Officer Jack calmly walked into the warehouse. Evan looked at Jack's face, and all the color drained from his own. "This was a huge mistake, Mr. Hart," he said in a shivering voice. "We surrender. Please, don't kill us." As he said this, Evan and all his men dropped to their knees, bowing before Jack as if disciples were bowing before his master. Seeing the city's most feared gangster on his knees in front of Jack, Senior Officer Jasper felt as if the floor had dropped out from under him. He just stared, dumbfounded. Why would such a powerful man bow down to a rookie? Why would he beg for his life? The secret of Officer Jack's life began in the West Point Medical Center, where he was counting his last breaths. "Doctor, will he make it?" a soldier asked, his voice strained. "Will Jack be okay?" The doctor looked at the unconscious soldier on the bed and replied calmly, "We can't say anything until he wakes up." Before he was a rookie cop, Jack was one of the most dangerous soldiers in the U.S. Army. But something had gone horribly wrong on a mission, leaving him struggling between life and death. In the emergency room of the military hospital, 5 of the best surgeons were working to save him. His body was riddled with bullet wounds and he was drenched in his own blood. Outside the emergency room, 2 soldiers, their uniforms torn and stained with blood, paced anxiously. After a long 2-hour wait, the doors to the operating theater opened. The soldiers, along with their squad leader, rushed to the doctor. "Is he okay? What happened?" The doctor managed a tired smile. "You don't need to worry, we saved him. He's a fighter." A wave of relief washed over the soldiers, but then the doctor's expression grew serious. During the fight, Jack was injected with an experimental chemical. It's the only reason he survived such massive trauma, but the lethal substance has now bonded with his blood. It's made him permanently weak. I doubt he'll ever be able to serve in the army again. Hearing this, the soldiers felt the world shift beneath their feet. Jordan Sinclair lost his composure and slammed his fist into the wall. "It's all my fault," he yelled. "I'm responsible for what happened to him." A senior officer grabbed him by the shoulder. "Jordan, tell me exactly what happened out there. A man like Jack doesn't go down this easily." In a voice choked with despair, Jordan told them a story that shook them to their core. "Sir, I was trapped in that lab in Russia. Jack came to save me. He could have left me behind, but he didn't. Then, out of nowhere, a masked man appeared and stuck a needle in Jack's neck. The senior officer's face hardened with anger. Because of your mistake, my most capable officer is on the brink of death. Now everyone was worried. Jack being out of the army would be a huge loss for the Wolfpack Division, a secret unit within the Military Intelligence Bureau. Only the most elite soldiers in the country were selected for it, and Jack had been training for the past 6 months to join their ranks. A few days later, a doctor came out of Jack's room and gave his medical report to the instructor. The instructor looked shocked after reading it. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "but Jack can never join the Wolfpack Division again." The senior officer got angry. "What do you mean? Jack is a fighter." The instructor sighed. "I know, but his strength and speed are gone. He's not fit for the army anymore." Everyone was heartbroken. When Jack woke up, the instructor told him the truth. "I'm sorry, Jack," he said. "You can't stay in the army now. You'll be moved to the police department." Jack froze. The words hit him harder than any bullet. After everything he'd done for his country, he looked down, unable to speak. The room felt colder, quieter. The uniform he once wore with pride now felt like a burden he no longer deserved. Jack walked out of the base quietly. The cold wind hit his face, but he didn't care. He had lost everything, his team, his honor, his home. Now he was just alone. He kept walking through the dark streets, not knowing where to go. Then he saw a small bar with lights on. Without thinking, he went inside. The place was dirty and smelled bad. He sat at a corner table and ordered a drink, then another and another. He drank until his hands stopped shaking. But the pain in his chest didn't stop. The door opened and a woman walked in. For a moment, the bar got a little quieter. It was Alara Payne, Jack's old friend, but she didn't look like the movie star everyone knew from TV. She wore a simple coat, a low hat, and no fancy makeup. Her hair was tied back. No one really noticed her. A teenager looked up from his phone, then went back to scrolling. The bartender just raised an eyebrow and kept cleaning a glass. No one said, "Hey, isn't that a famous actress?" Alara walked straight to Jack's table and sat down. Jack blinked in surprise. "Alara?" he said. She gave a small smile and whispered, "Don't make a scene." Why would a Hollywood star come to a small, smoky bar to meet an ordinary cop? That question hung in the air, making the moment feel strange and important. "Jack," she said softly, "you're drunk again." He looked up slowly. "Alara, what are you doing here?" "I heard you left the army," she said. "And now you're sitting here breaking yourself. Why?" Jack gave a sad smile. "Because I lost everything." Alara sat down beside him. "You didn't lose everything, Jack. I know why you wanted to be the top soldier." He stayed silent, staring at his glass. She continued, her voice gentle. "It was because of your mom, right? That Mafia took her away." Jack's hand tightened around the glass. "Yes," he said in a low voice. "They kidnapped her years ago. I joined the army to find her. Then I became a cop, hoping I'd get closer, but still nothing." Alara placed her hand on his arm. "Jack, your mom is still out there, and I believe you'll find her. But not like this. Not by drinking yourself to death." He looked at her, eyes filled with pain and hope. "You really think I can still find her?" Alara nodded. "Yes. You're still the same Jack I knew, strong, brave, and stubborn." For the first time that night, Jack gave a small smile. "Thanks, Alara." She stood up and said, "Come on, let's go home. You can't fight if you can't stand." Jack laughed weakly and got up. Okay, you win." As they walked out into the cold night, the storm outside began to calm, and for the first time in a long while, so did Jack's heart. A few years passed. Jack had changed a lot. He was stronger, calmer, and more focused. He worked hard every day and had become one of the best officers in the city, but even after all this time, he still thought about his mother. One quiet morning, Jack was at home cleaning his gun at the table. The sunlight came through the window and everything was peaceful until the doorbell rang. He opened the door and froze for a second. Standing there, smiling, was Alara, and beside her stood an older man in a dark suit. His face looked tense, his hands trembling slightly as he held a newspaper. Jack's eyes narrowed. "Alara, and you are?" The man took off his hat. "Mr. Hart, I'm here because you deserve the truth about your mother." Ilara looked at Jack quietly, letting him sit down before the man spoke. Mr. Rodriguez took a sharp breath as he said, "Jack, what you are about to hear is really tough." Jack gave a wry smile and said, "Whatever it is, just lay it on me." Mr. Rodriguez's voice was low but steady. "Your mother didn't vanish, officer. She was taken away by her own family. Your grandfather, one of the city's richest social figures, couldn't accept that his daughter had married a nobody. He disowned her and swore she'd never return." Jack's jaw tightened. "All this while, I thought she'd vanished and left us for good. Now you're telling me it's because my father was poor?" he questioned. "Unfortunately, yes. That's the whole truth. Your grandfather hated your father," he said. Jack froze in shock. Mr. Rodriguez's added slowly, "He despised him. And when your mother tried to reach out, they made her disappear. That's all I know." Ilara placed a hand on Jack's arm. "Now you know why you never found her, Jack?" Jack just nodded. He was at a loss for words. Ilara then said something which sparked Jack. "Yet, I mean..." Jack's gaze darted at Ilara. "What do you mean, yet? If Wolfpack is behind her disappearance, I'd never be able to find her, especially when I'm out of the unit," he sighed. "Who's to stop you? I think you haven't seen the newspaper," Ilara said. She then handed him the newspaper. "The police chief made an announcement. The best officer this year will get a chance to join the Wolfpack Academy. The trials start soon," she added. Jack looked up, his voice firm. "Then I'll take it. I'm ready this time." He looked at his police badge, then at his mother's photo. "This time," he whispered, "I won't fail." The next day, Jack made a plan. He asked for the night shift so he could train during the day. Every morning after work, he ran through the streets, lifted weights, and practiced fighting. Even when he was tired, he didn't stop. But not everyone believed in him. Some officers laughed when they saw him training. "Look at him," one said. "Didn't he get kicked out of the Wolfpack?" Another chuckled. "Yeah, he's wasting his time. Once a loser, always a loser." Jack heard them, but he said nothing. He just kept training, harder than before. Day by day, he grew stronger. They called him weak, but soon they'd all see who Jack Hart really was. That night, Jack started his first night shift with his new partner, Alexander Castillo, an old smart cop. As they drove, Alexander said, "In New York City, remember 3 rules. Don't mess with men who have tattoos, they're gangsters. Don't stop supercars, they belong to rich people. And don't argue with beautiful women, they belong to both." Jack smiled. "Got it." As they drove through the rain-slick streets, Alexander said once again, "New York City isn't one city, kid. It's 4 zones, north, east, west, and central, each ruled by a different Mafia family. The cops only survive here because the Mafias allow it." Jack frowned. "Then how does one become the best cop in a city like this?" Alexander glanced at him. "By clearing the 4 zones, taking back the streets from the Mafias." As soon as Jack heard this, he had an evil smile, Alexander figured. He looked at Jack seriously and warned, "Don't even think about it, Jack. That's suicide. Every cop who's tried to go against the zones never made it home. You're a rookie anyway. Don't make this any harder for yourself than it already is." Alexander's voice mirrored the horrors he'd seen being unleashed by the 4 gangs. Jack didn't reply first. He took a moment and said something that shook Alexander to his core. "I've got no other way. Let's do this." Alexander had a million questions, but the determination in Jack's voice made him sure that asking any more questions would only get uncomfortable. He stayed quiet. Jack's eyes stayed fixed on the road ahead, as if he'd already made his decision. Later that night, chaos broke out near the Zenith Club. 2 groups of rich young men, including the Payne brothers, city's most notorious, and Shane Peterson were fighting over a spit on a luxury car. Alexander sighed. "Stay out of it, Jack. They're rich heirs. No one dares touch them." But Jack stepped out anyway. He fired a warning shot in the air and shouted, "Stop fighting and apologize." The rich boys laughed. One said, "You know who we are? You can't arrest us." Then one of them spit on Jack's uniform. Jack's eyes turned cold. "You may not respect me or my uniform, but you gotta respect the badge kids," he sneered. "Imagine your parents reading about you dishonoring the badge. How'll they save their faces?" he added. The kids' faces went pale. They knew he was right. Fighting violence, crime are much different than taking the brass head on, especially for something so trivial. "You'll regret this," said one while coming forward to cooperate with Jack. Others followed his suit. In no time, all of the 11 boys were handcuffed and taken to the precinct. By morning, everyone was talking about it. No one had ever arrested the city's richest kids before. The next morning, the precinct was filled with noise. Everyone was talking about what Jack had done. Some admired him, others looked scared. For him, for themselves. In general, the Mafia had a rule: if one cop makes your life hell, you return the favor to the whole brass. Then a line of black cars stopped outside the station. The air turned tense. Out stepped Emilio, one of the most powerful businessmen in New York City and father of the Payne brothers. He was tall, calm, and cold-eyed, followed by his bodyguards in suits. He walked straight to the police chief's office without saying a word. A few minutes later, the chief called out, "Officer Jack Hart, in my office, now!" Jack walked in and stood straight. Emilio stepped forward and said, "You arrested my sons. Do you know who I am?" Jack looked him right in the eye and said, "I know who you are, a rich man who thinks money can buy the law. Your boys beat people and ruin cars. That isn't strength. It's cowardice." Emilio's face went red with anger. "How dare you speak to me like that?" he hissed. Jack's voice stayed quiet but hard. "They were breaking the law. If they try it again, I'll arrest them again and I won't stop. Money won't save them then." After leaving the police station, Emilio did not go home. He drove to the North Zone, a dark building where powerful men and gang leaders met. Inside the room, he stood at the head of a long table. Around him sat other rich men, shady bosses, and a few of the city's most dangerous fixers. The air was cold and tense. He spoke slowly and clearly. "That cop," he said, "humiliated me in front of my sons. He called me a man who buys the law. He threatened my family. I will not be made a fool." He slammed his hand on the table. Everyone fell quiet. "I will pay $10 million to whoever finds Officer Jack Hart," Emilio said. "Bring him to me, alive or dead. No police, no talk. Do it quietly. Do it quickly." A murmur ran through the room. Some men nodded. Others smiled at the chance. He did not stop there. He looked each man in the eye. "If you fail me," he warned, "you will lose everything. Make sure this cop disappears." The meeting ended. Word moved fast through the city's underworld. The bounty was real. The danger was close. And now many eyes were looking for Officer Jack Hart. When the next morning came, the sunlight touched Jack's tired face. He hadn't slept properly for 2 days. Slowly, he walked home through the quiet street. All he wanted was some rest. But when he opened his door, he stopped. There were voices inside his house. 2 young women were sitting on his couch laughing. One had short brown hair and sharp eyes. The other had long hair and looked shy. Jack frowned. "Who are you?" he asked. The short-haired girl jumped up. "Oh, I'm Ava Sawyer and this is Clara Sutton," she said quickly. "We rented this house last week. The landlord said it was empty." Jack's face became serious. "Empty? This is my house." The girls looked at each other, surprised. Ava shrugged. "Well, maybe your landlord forgot to tell you anyway. We already paid, so we can't just leave." Clara said softly, "We really don't have another place to go. Can we please stay for a few days?" Jack looked at them for a long time. They didn't look poor or scared, they looked sure of themselves. But still, he said quietly, "Fine, you can stay." Ava smiled. "Thanks, sir. We won't bother you." But the way she said "sir" sounded like a joke. Jack went to wash his face. When he came back, the girls were moving his furniture and cleaning like they owned the place. Ava looked around. "Wow, you actually live here? It's so empty." Clara laughed. "Yeah, it feels like an old man's house." Jack didn't reply. Later, Ava knocked on his door. "Hey, Mr. Jack, we're going to a cafe. You should come. You look like you need to get out for once." Her voice was friendly but teasing. Jack didn't want to go, but he nodded anyway. At the cafe, people were talking and laughing. They sat near the window. Clara asked, "So, Mr. Jack, what do you do?" "I was a soldier," he said. Ava raised her eyebrows. "A soldier? Really?" Then she smiled. "That explains the serious face." Clara giggled. "Yeah, but you don't look like one now." Ava leaned closer. "So what happened? Did they kick you out?" Jack looked down. "The war ended," he said quietly. Ava laughed a little. Guess the army didn't need you anymore, huh? Their food consisted of noodles and soup. The girls talked about fashion, movies, and parties. Jack stayed quiet, listening. Then a fly buzzed near their table. Ava waved her hand. Ugh, that's disgusting. The fly flew toward Jack. He looked up and snapped, caught it with his chopsticks. Everyone in the cafe stopped talking. Ava stared. Wait, you caught that? For real? Clara's mouth dropped open. That's crazy, Ava laughed. Well, at least you're good for something. You could join the circus. People nearby chuckled. Jack opened the window and let the fly go. Just practice, he said calmly. Ava smirked. Yeah, sure. Practice catching flies. Clara giggled again. Jack gave a small smile, but inside his heart felt heavy. That night, after coming home from the cafe, Jack lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. The sound of Ava and Clara's laughter still echoed in his mind. He turned on his side, trying to sleep, but something inside him felt strange. His heart was beating too fast, like it was shaking his chest. He sat up and took a deep breath. Maybe it was just stress. Maybe he was tired, but this didn't feel normal. He got up and walked to the kitchen to get some water. Crack! The glass fell from his hand. Water spilled all over the floor. Jack froze. What the hell? He looked down at his hand. They were trembling as if he were standing at the North Pole. He tried grabbing a kitchen towel to mop the floor. He managed to hold it, but cleaning felt like he was moving tons of steel. Jack stepped back, shocked. This can't be real. His hands were shaking as he managed to grab his phone and scrolled through his contacts. He stopped at one name, Dr. Barrett. The phone rang twice before a deep voice answered. Dr. Barrett said, Jack, it's late. What's wrong? Jack took a shaky breath. Doctor, something's happening to me. My body feels weird. Dr. Barrett sounded serious now. Weird how? Jack stared at his hand. I picked up a glass, and it fell right through. I feel so weak, like I can't even function in daily life. What is it? What's happening to me? There was silence, long and heavy. Jack frowned. Doc, say something. Dr. Barrett finally spoke. Jack, do you remember that day in Russia? The lab? Jack's eyes narrowed. The day I got shot? The injection? Yes, Barrett said slowly. That wasn't a normal shot. It was something called Project Helix, an experimental serum that was supposed to make soldiers stronger. Jack's voice went cold. But it's making me weak, Doc. It's ought to, Barrett said. At first, but that serum is unstable. It mixed with your blood in ways we couldn't understand. Everyone else who got it died within 1 or 2 weeks. Jack's eyes widened. Wait, what are you saying? Barrett took a deep breath. I'm saying you shouldn't be alive, Jack. And if the serum is waking up again, you might not stay alive for long. Jack's voice hardened. How long do I have? Barrett answered quietly. 1 to 2 weeks, maybe less. Jack looked down. His reflection in the window looked strange. His eyes were brighter, sharper. There has to be a cure, he said softly. Barrett replied, We tried, Jack. Everyone who got that serum died, but your body's different. Somehow you're fighting it. You've lasted longer than anyone else ever did. Jack clenched his jaw. So you're saying I'm dying again? He ended the call. The phone slipped from his hand onto the couch. Jack looked down at his hands again. The blue glow came back brighter this time. He whispered, So, this is what being powerless feels like. The sun was setting slowly over New York City. As the sky turned orange and dark shadows spread across the streets, the same darkness was rising inside Jack Hart. Every minute the light faded, the anger in his heart grew stronger. He hadn't slept. His mind kept flashing back to the strange blue light that glowed under his skin the night before. He stood in front of the mirror in his small apartment. His eyes looked sharper, colder. Project Helix, he whispered. The name made his chest tighten. He muttered to himself, The Wolfpack made me a monster. What would he do? How will he make it to the Wolfpack now? Will he be able to find his mother? These questions stung Jack. However, he was unaware of the fact these problems will soon be looking much smaller than they are. For in the other part of the city, something was brewing. Outside, the streets of the North Zone were silent except for the sound of someone's car engine. It was Finn, whose mere mention would scare New York City. Neon lights flickered, stray dogs barked in the distance. Finn got down from the car and entered Payne's den. The room smelled of cigar smoke and expensive leather. Emilio sat at the head of a long mahogany table, his fingers tapping impatiently. Around him, shadows of gang lieutenants shifted nervously. Outside, the city's neon lights flickered, casting long streaks across the walls. The door creaked open. Silence fell. The man stepped in, tall, lean, and impossibly calm. Every step he took seemed measured, deliberate, like a predator circling its prey. His eyes were ice cold, a pale blue that seemed almost unnatural. Black leather gloves covered his hands, and a faint scar ran across his left cheek. "Finn," Emilio said, voice low, almost reverent. "Long time, huh?" Finn, the cop killer as he was called, dearly by the gangs and fearfully by the uniform. He had no qualms, no hidden techniques, no fear whatsoever. He was just ruthless. Finn's gaze swept the room, stopping on each man, lingering on Emilio just long enough to make him squirm. "Indeed is," he said softly, almost a whisper. "But I didn't come for pleasantries. You know me, Emilio." Emilio leaned forward, trying to mask the tension coiling in his chest. "I put a bounty on a cop. 10 million, alive or dead, and yet... nothing. He's still walking around like a ghost." Finn smiled, a brief, chilling curl of his lips. "Let me guess you don't just want him dead, do you?" "No," Emilio admitted, voice harder. "I don't just want revenge. I want to set an example. Every cop who thinks they can change us needs to see what happens when they cross the Paynes." Finn nodded slowly, his expression unreadable. "I've heard of him. Jack Hart, right? You've made the kid quite a hero." He leaned closer. "He's lucky so far, but luck runs out." A murmur ran through the room, but Finn's gaze silenced it. He was the kind of man you didn't interrupt. The kind of man who made criminals pray he wasn't on their street tonight. Emilio swallowed hard. "Finn, people talk. You've done things others wouldn't even imagine." "What happened with Officer Callahan?" Finn's eyes flickered, like reminiscing a childhood memory. "Ah, Callahan, rookie. Thought he could stop me from leaving a message. I tied him to the back of a car, poked his eyes out, and drove him through 3 blocks of traffic and left him for the city to find. Clean, quick, unforgettable. That's how I work. No hesitation, no mercy. That's why the gangs pay me. That's why they fear me." The room grew colder, the weight of the story settling like a fog over everyone present. Even Emilio felt a chill crawl up his spine. He had heard rumors about Finn, but seeing him here in the same room was a different kind of terror. "You'll get Jack," Emilio said, trying to mask the unease in his voice. "I've got enough money to make this worth your time. I want him brought to me, alive if possible, but I don't care how." Finn tilted his head as if assessing a chessboard no one else could see. "Money doesn't motivate me," he said quietly. "Fear does. And you? You've made him famous. That's why you need me. I'll do this. But know this, Emilio. Once I touch him, there will be no warning. No witnesses. No mercy. Only an example." Emilio nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. "Good. That's what I want." Finn straightened, his presence filling the room like a storm about to break. "Then I'll need full control. All gangs, all protection. Any interference and your bounty won't mean a damn thing." Emilio forced a smile. "You'll have everything you need." Finn's icy stare swept the room one last time. "Then tell your men to stand down. I work alone. I'll do them in a way that it'll scare off everyone on the force," he muttered with an evil smile. So much so that for a second even Emilio could feel chills. Finn left as he came, leaving behind a gush of cold, eerie air. "You have to bring in Finn. Finn, the cop killer. The man who gouged out eyes and left bodies as messages." "They want me to arrest Finn?" Jack asked, disbelief coloring his tone. "If you can take down the monster the whole city fears, the Wolfpack can't deny you." Miller patted Jack's shoulder and walked away, leaving Jack standing alone in the middle of the busy station. Jack looked down at his trembling hand. The blue veins were pulsing faintly under his skin. He was dying. The serum gave him maybe a week to live. He could barely lift a heavy box without getting winded. And now, to save his mother, he had to fight the most dangerous killer in history. How can Jack possibly defeat a ruthless assassin like Finn when his own body is failing him? Is this a suicide mission set up by the corrupt police chief to ensure Jack is killed legally? Will the unstable Project Helix serum inside Jack suddenly evolve, giving him a new power? or will it kill him right in the middle of the fight? To find out if Jack can survive the impossible, download the Pocket FM app and listen to The Secret Soldier. Click the link below to continue the story.